Okay, so we're live on Facebook and YouTube. Going to put on our intro and allow people time to come in. How's it going, everybody? We got Maja in the house. It's always a pleasure to spend time with her. She's always got some great insight. Let me just get her up here. Let's see. We got quite a few people in the Zoom room. Welcome, everybody. Let's see. Welcome, everybody on YouTube and the Facebook pages. Let's see what Maya's been up to. ¿Qué pasa, señorita? Wait a minute. Are you muted? Oh, no, you're not. What's that?
No, you said what's going on. I'm like, what to say, what to answer to
I know. Well, I saw something you put out and I thought, oh, I got to hit her up because I've been doing the scheduling for a short period of time. That's not going to last too long. And I'm like trying to fill up August because July is just like packed and there's like all these people asking. And so, and then you wrote back and said, well, I wasn't thinking August. I'm thinking like some really big stuff's happening right now. I'd like to talk about it. I'm like, okay, let's see if we can work out. So today's going to be packed, but that's okay for you. I have no problem with it because we always have great conversations, but and you look fantastic, by the way. So I don't know if you've been going through the same thing we all have, but you seem to be coming out pretty good. You need to let us know what your trick is. But you look great. You really do.
Thank you.
Look good. Did you move?
No.
Okay, you're in the same place. Yeah, it just looks.
I think we had at least one.
Yeah.
I think at least once I was already here. Yeah.
So you've been doing any surfing?
Yeah, just yesterday.
Yeah. Are you getting good at it?
Yes.
Is there
better?
Better. Is there like a metaphysical aspect to it? Like, I mean, balance. Do you think about that stuff, or you just like get up and try to hang on? Which is probably a metaphysical message. Just get up, get on your feet, and just try to hang on, right?
If I try to think too much, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So,
and that's how it works, isn't it? I mean, that's really actually how it's beginning to make sense.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot from surfing on how I live my life.
Yeah.
And what I see, how I approach surfing, and I see my block there, then I apply it in my life. It's amazing. I love it.
Right on. So what were you alluding to on the message? What's been going on with you? Because I know you said something specifically, but I can't remember what it was. I guess I could pull it up, but
I mean, I also said when you said last week of August, and I was trying to just think about the last week of August, and it seemed so far as if it doesn't even exist. So I
know. I know. I got it. I'm connected to you, so I totally got it when you said that. I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Like that's not even. How do you even think about something like that? And
Yeah.
probably, and it's hard to do because of the amount of people. You know, I mean, there's just it's like a tidal wave, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you want to like, I see you, and I want to like, okay, I need to get her, and then you try to put it in, but you're right. This requires some planning, and that really doesn't fit.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're supposed to wake up every day, and like if you use that as a microcosm, like schedule what you want for the day. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's weird. Yeah.
It kind of feels like that, when I try to plan something too far ahead, and this
Yeah.
is happening lately in the
Yeah.
last weeks,
Yeah.
it just doesn't
No.
it doesn't go through.
No. No, you're right. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right about that. I stand corrected. Thank you for straightening me out. What did you say? I'm looking up the message. Let's see. Let's see what you said. It was actually, it made me laugh because I was haha, that's so far away that I have no plans yet.
I think you mean what I said when you wrote me, and I said something like that I don't even know what to talk about.
Yeah. Well,
Was
you
it?
said, this is what you said. You said, yes, funny face with 3 hearts. Will be interesting because it feels like everything went beyond concepts and words.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's what caught my eye. And I thought, oh, she's lit.
yeah.
She's lit. There's something happening. So yeah. So what's it been like for you? I mean, what's been going on? I mean, because we haven't talked in a while. I was on the move. We were down 3 weeks, and then well, during those 3 weeks, they were in June, and I guess it was all by perfect design because June was like like a hurricane every day. Wasn't it? It was just like,
Remember
whoa.
June?
Yeah, the eclipses, and then they ended the first week of this month, and it was just like, wow, man.
Yeah, so I went through 2 extremely intense weeks,
Mm,
which completed this past Sunday.
mm,
And it was 2 weeks of, first week was just extreme tiredness.
mm.
I just had to sleep. I could not eat. I literally ate, like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a piece of fruit, and later a bit of cooked vegetables, no carbs. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Um, and it was like my nervous system was so overstimulated that I couldn't handle any contact. So I basically canceled
Yeah.
everything, some meetings or calls that I planned. I canceled everything. I didn't meet with anyone. I was posting very rarely. I wasn't working. Um, and it was just hard. Like physically, it felt really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
This was for 1 week. And of course, a lot of crying. That's
Yeah, a lot of
not even
crying.
mentioned
I
anymore.
had one night. I had one night like that till 5:30 in the morning. Like I
Yeah.
was presented with something, and I was just like, I was laying in bed with Morgan, and it got presented to me, and I couldn't sleep, and I was like, I got to get up. This must have been like 2 in the morning. So for 3.5 hours, I sat out in the garage, and I just tried to connect with the nature beings behind the house, and just something, fairies. There was a lot of activity, but all I could do was cry. You know,
Yeah.
it was pure human. It was like the higher awareness. I knew everything was fine, but from a human level, I was just like, it was purging.
Yeah.
So
And
I don't know.
so that was 1 week. And the week after, it was like 4 or 5 days that I did not sleep because my cat kept waking me up every day at 4 o'clock. And he
Uh-oh.
was raging as if he's on steroids.
Uh,
I couldn't get back to sleep.
wow.
And then it was time to get up. So I was super tired, still couldn't eat, couldn't really do much. It's still, I was not working, no calls, everything felt too overwhelming. And a lot of people were writing me as well. the same time because it was an intense
Yeah.
time. And on top of that, in the middle of that past week, suddenly out of nothing, I get extreme pain in my neck and here,
Wow.
just like that. And it was painful. If I touched like this, couldn't turn my head, like couldn't lift my arms.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
It sounded like you had a pinched nerve or something. I
you
mean, I
know,
know it was an energetic
yeah,
meaning
what
to
I
it.
got was that it's a trauma release.
I
Trauma
was going to
release.
say, I was going to say a lot of women, especially, have been talking about these hands on their back, pushing them. Get out there, get out there. Of course, you've been out there,
Yeah.
but it was trauma
Yeah,
release.
that's how it felt. And then, synchronistically, because I always feel when to book an appointment with my osteopath, who is also an amazing energy worker. I went there next day and she was working on it. She just said, a lot is going on there. All your guides and everybody was there, was super busy. You are
Wow.
releasing a lot. And that was confirmation. So, the rest of the week I was just resting, and I realized in that time, because I really wasn't able to do anything, because the pain was also so intense that if I tried to do anything at all, I got so annoyed immediately because it was too much. And I was kind of forced to make space or to give myself space. And in that space, I realized that prior to that, I thought I was giving myself space, but it was up to a certain extent and was not fully. It was up to a line where I thought, okay, this needs to be done, this needs to be answered. I cannot rest so much. I need to work because I need to pay my bills and so on. And now I just completely put everything aside, just everything, any thoughts of how anything needs to be. And I shifted into my organic process.
Yeah.
That's how it felt.
Good word.
Yeah, like really completely in. And I described this in a post, and I think after that post is when you wrote me.
I think that's the one you're talking about. I
Then
can remember the energy of it. Yeah. And I was like,
I made
bingo.
a video as well. Yeah.
So, for myself, and I know a lot of people because they've been making the comments as we've been having the shows, because we started having the shows again, would have been around the 20th of June. So during that 3 weeks, it was like hell week, like when you pledge for fraternity in college and they put you through hell week, it was like hell month. But the physical part of it, the tiredness or drowsiness, I don't know if it's tiredness, drowsiness, that whole thing, the aches, I had it in my I guess it's my neck. So I had it in my neck up into where the spine goes into the brain, and it would go from there, like almost in the same areas you're talking about. And I kept wondering, well, I wonder it's because I'm in a new chair, I'm sleeping on a new bed, and then of course after I got through the BS of that, I went, okay, what's going on energetically? But it took about almost 3 weeks for it to clear up. But the same symptoms in the thing with the food, like Morgan hasn't been eating. She doesn't eat a lot anyway. And I noticed that, my body was telling me, well, like the thing with the carbs, like every time I would eat carbs, I would pay for it. I mean, I couldn't even digest it for 2-3 days. So, but it seems to be lifting a little bit. Is it lifting for you the last few days?
Yeah, for me it lifted like slowly since Monday. It seems it's lifted.
Yeah.
So I started eating more normally, slowly, and more consciously, because I was exaggerating before because it was so intense that I was eating just too much sugar also.
Yeah.
But what I personally observed, the difference now, and in this, especially last week, is that I felt actual tiredness in my body, as opposed to before, when I felt I'm simply incapacitated because of the strong light influxes. Now I wasn't incapacitated. It was just as if my body let me know I'm tired. You have a choice. Like, you can push yourself or listen and rest. And so I felt like for the first time in many years, my body was actually resting.
Yeah.
And my nervous system
Yeah.
was resting.
Yeah. I remember last month having a lot of days, just like you're talking about, and I guess that's, we were in flux. So, for 3 weeks, I know I was laying down and I'm still doing it. Like today I won't, because I squeezed you in. So I got 30 minutes between shows, but after the next show, I don't have anything for a couple hours. Then I'm going to lay down. I almost have to lay down after every show, but you were talking about the nervous system. So I kept feeling like, I don't know how to say it, but it's not a tingling, but I felt like all of my nerve endings were just like doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was really weird, because even if I was sitting still, I could still feel it. It was really strange. That went on for quite a while. We must have gone through massive upgrades during that eclipse period, and with the planets aligning, and what was it? Full moon, ended with a full moon eclipse.
Solstice also.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I feel that with Sunday, I concluded a massive cycle in many ways, but also physically, as if I am upgraded. I don't know if this is the light body or what, but it feels completely different than it ever felt before, but in a major way.
Yeah, I can relate to that. What about like, I saw a couple of people talk about it too in post, and I felt like there was and I can't even tell you when this happened, but I know it was early this week. It was early this week. In fact, since Monday, I have felt very fuzzy, cloudy. Like, even though I feel much better, it's like I can't think. I can do one thing at a time. And if I love that what you said about organic, like I'm finding that if I just do this or anything, like last night I was cleaning the floor downstairs so we can put flooring in. But if I do something, I can do that, but I can't do anything else. I can't multitask. But and what I was going to say is, at one point, and I don't know if it was Monday or Tuesday, I literally felt like, and I've never really felt this before, but I felt like a timeline jump. Like I could feel like something staggered, like warbled or something, and then I was in a different place.
Yeah.
And I saw a couple of people say something similar, but I don't think I can really put it into words.
Yeah. I think I remember something like that this week, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, right.
Because,
that's how it works.
You know what I feel when I wrote you that in the message that we are going beyond concepts.
Yes.
I think, well, what I'm experiencing, and also some people that I talk with and my clients, we are, because before, until now, in the spiritual world, you have this concept of presence, of surrender, of embodiment, and so on.
Yeah.
But we didn't really know what that means. We could explain in words what it means to be present in the now moment, but we weren't really present in the now moment, because I think being present in the now moment is what you were saying before. You can focus on the task that is here. You cannot think then this, then that, maybe I multitask or plan something or worry about something, or even because I have all my life I've had visions of the future, and what is happening now, these visions just fell away. They are not important anymore.
Yeah.
because
Like,
it's now.
like, what are you doing the last week of August? Like, that doesn't even, uh, yeah. So God, you were just saying something and it brought something up. You were talking about the organic part, the evolvement. God, it'll come back. It'll come back. But it was good, whatever it was. But I'll get it back.
Yeah, the organic way is what is like, this is most present for me right now. I'm
Yeah.
really exploring what the organic way means. And I wrote a post about it today.
Yeah.
And it's, it's going beyond any definitions, like literally any definitions and concepts that we
Yes.
had about ourselves.
Yes.
It's putting all of this away and just
Yes.
listening within, because the organic way is within us.
Yeah.
Like, in there.
Yeah, we were talking about this on the last show with this incredible new friend of ours, Marina Barrett, out of England. And in so many ways, we were talking about this, and the labels,
Mhm.
they don't work anymore. And she was talking about, she's a energy worker and has been for years and years and years, and she was talking about how everything just went to hell, like she didn't even, I mean, it was both a course in humility and surrender, and everything goes, nothing applies,
Yeah.
right up to what happened yesterday. It just goes. And so there's this new space. Well, this is what she said. She said she was driving down the road, listening to one of the shows. Some lady was on with me, and I don't know who it was. And she said she was talking about, she said it was June 29th. There you go. And she was talking about bringing the reptilians and the Pleiadians to a 0 point. And she said in that moment, she went into her third eye, integrated the two, and then went into this shamanic thing, and all this stuff started happening. A big buzzard flew over her, a white owl, a red deer. And I said, that's the new thing, though. That's how it's kind of working. Almost like, so you have all this information you download, you work with people, and it's almost like all you got to do is get in front of them or get on the screen, and they just pick, don't have to say anything. They just pick everything up. Oh, that's what she said. Right after that happened, and those succession of animals presented themselves, there was a man that was going to have a session with her, and I think she said she saw him driving down the road, and I don't know if it was in the physical or if it was third eye. I think it was in the physical. And the minute she looked at him, all the information was transferred to him. He got it. He then tells her, hey, I got it all. You looked at me and I got it. And I want to pay you for that. She's like, well, I don't think you should, because I didn't do anything. And then she just left it up to him to whatever he wanted to do. But that's what I'm talking about.
But this is the organic way. We feel like we did nothing because it's so natural.
Yeah.
This is our essence. This is the core of our mission.
Yeah.
Mission had this ring of something heavy. We are doing the mission, we are serving, we are fighting for the light. But for me, a mission is, it's your essence. It's part of your essence. It's your most natural way of being and doing. And it's actually easy, so easy that you think this is not it.
Yeah, I know.
I did nothing.
It's like beyond subtle. It's like you can't even describe it. So I remember having years ago having a memory of Atlantis. And I remember being in a house, and I remember my feet were really ugly. I remember that. But I remember I was in this house, and there was another person in the house. And I remember, you ever get the tones, like the buzzing and the tones? Yes. But I remember there was a lot of tones. There was a constant set of tones in the air, and there was almost like a pixelated, the air was like pixelated. You could see waves and stuff. But the thing I remember the most is that the person that I was in this house with, we had this well, it was just a normal thing, like, two people living together, but there was a conversation that was going, but there was never a word spoken. Everything was through the vibrations, the light, the telepathy. Everything was, there was nothing was spoken. And that's what it reminded me of when I was talking to this lady before, and what you're talking about. It reminds me of that. It's almost like, I've heard some people talking about in the last couple of days, actually, on the news feed, as I was sharing posts for Soulology Group, talking about patience, tolerance, or lack of, like something's going on here. Like the explanations, the stories, they just don't work anymore. Kind of like what you talked about with seeing the future, and it just doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I mean, okay, one thing that is just coming to me that I need to say for everyone who is watching, that this is a transmission already. We are transmitting freedom codes and the codes that activate your natural organic way. So this is already happening.
Yeah. And if you feel like you need to do anything at any time, you do whatever you need to do. But I want to ask you about that, because I've heard that a lot from Sandra Walters, and other people have brought it up, the freedom codes. Like, I've never really dug into it. What does that mean? I mean, but what does that mean to you, the freedom codes?
Yeah, so I can tell you what it means for me. For me, the freedom codes, freedom in the ultimate meaning for me, which is the freedom to be completely yourself. So to flow naturally and organically. The freedom to just express your essence beyond all the programs, all the templates, like even the spiritual matrix, because it's a matrix,
Yes.
And of course, like our world now is in a huge reset and huge trauma release, collective trauma release. All of this with the COVID and the masks and the potential vaccines and the quarantine and the Black Lives Matter movement and all the other stuff is triggering so many things. Trauma, it's triggering trauma in people, and all of this is just coming out, making space, and at the same time, the way showers, and I don't want to put the way showers higher. It's just those of us who were already working on ourselves deeply in the past years. We carry the freedom codes, and now that the space is being made, the codes can be activated. And this is new earth.
I like what you said. I like what you said about you're creating space, because that's what I see happening. You see all this in the collective, which is basically the same thing that happened on an individual basis. Like all of our stuff's coming up, which is still happening, especially these last few weeks. And so the space gets created, and that influx of the freedom codes or whatever it may be comes in, which is the organic, which is what you're talking about, right? And so, that's what now that I'm talking to you now, I'm seeing what I'm observing, which is, am I going to, or, so to speak, am I going to, because when you create that space, it is the Black Lives Matter, police brutality, maskings, the quarantine. It's all that. That's just the story. And what you're doing, as I'm talking to you, is you're focusing on the organic. So there's two things there, right? There's that one going out the door and one coming in. And I think in time, everybody will let go of what's going out the door, because the universe isn't supporting that. It's not part. It's not that's the old paradigm, the old stuff.
Yeah. And the way I have always worked, and I thought, this is, I don't know what this is. I don't know how to explain it, because I feel like I'm doing nothing. But my way of working is holding space.
Yeah.
Because, what I see with myself and with people when I started, just doing what I am, just being myself, holding space, this comes naturally for me. I saw the biggest transformation, because suddenly that person you know, whatever person, each of us, we are filling our space with concepts
Yes.
and with templates of how it is, how it should be. And I have, you know, my gift, or however you call it, is that when they come into my space, either in session or in temple, I like my space is so strong and clear that when they step in, those concepts, like
Yeah.
they're like, we cannot be here.
Yeah.
So the person suddenly feels, maybe not consciously, but oh, so I can be myself.
Yeah.
And then they experience themselves and like, oh, so this feels good.
Yeah.
I would like to do that also after this session.
Yeah. That's right.
And then the organic way comes out, you know, like we are not teaching anything. I'm not saying this is what you need to do. Okay, I use light language because this is my tool of just activating then,
Yeah.
you know, what can unfold in this space. But for me, this is it, holding space and being kind.
The energy speaks for itself. I mean, the energy is actually the thing, right? I mean, it's like you said, it's the concepts, the words go away. And so this, and I talked about this the last couple of days. Now you're taking it to another level, which is great because we can remove the gender to a degree, right? So what I got was like, this all started to come to a head. God, it's so hard to remember, but I'd say in the last week or 10 days, because I had several things led up to it. So, and what I got was, okay, so the feminine energy, and that we say that because that's the only way to describe it from where we're all coming from, was suppressed in everybody, right? Everybody, which means it was suppressed in the collective field. Now, the masculine's very straight edges, you know, structured, controlled, right? Or let's not say the masculine, the patriarchal, okay?
Yes.
So the feminine flows like this, right? It has to. It flows like this. It's unobstructed. It's not thought out. It's not planned. It just flows. And so we all suppress that as a man, as a woman, as the patriarch, you know, and when you said holding space, so I started being told you have to hold space. And this was at the end of May, right before I hit the road. You have to hold space. And I kept saying, well, what does that mean? And they said, just hold space. So the first time something was presented to me, what did I do? I went into the old pattern. I reacted and started talking, and that didn't work. Then I did it the next time, a little bit softer. Let me try this. Let me try saying this or doing that. It didn't work. And then finally I got to the point where don't say anything. Just keep your damn mouth shut. Just, can you do that? And I said, okay. So I did. And then 2 or 3 occurrences go by and I'm like, whoa, the clarity. And then it came. This is what you're doing. You're allowing her to flow. And that is a prerequisite to new birth, right?
Yes, and if I can just make a note here, so the masculine has also been repressed, and the way this repression manifested was patriarchy.
That's right.
When the masculine is, you know, in his essence, free, he is holding space. The masculine holds space, safe space for the feminine to flow.
Yes, that's right.
This is for me the holding of space, is the balanced masculine, the anchored or the pure masculine.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And ooh, that was a big one. That was I just have to say this, everybody, that was an activation. But no, so what happened, because obviously Morgan is a huge part of my interpretation and experience because she's the physical incarnation of my feminine.
Yeah.
So to what you're saying, what happened was that was a big part of how I was able to go through, because as I watched her flow and I started to see it and allow it, I realized that the emotion that is feminine is an integral part of creation, like to create new things, right? And so as I went through the whole thing, then I was like, wait a minute, it's about me. So then I looked at my stuff. I looked at my work. I looked at my plans, and I just went, forget about it. And within 2-3 days, 2 or 3 people hit me up organically from the same intention, from intuition, imagination, and said, hey, I want to help you. And I said, okay, well, and I didn't go into the old thing where, okay, well, let's do this and let's do that. And I just said, here's what I got. Here's what I'd like to do. And I just gave it to them. And then one of them said, I'm going to go do this. And another one said, I'm going to go do this. And then another one said, here, let me take that. Let me do something with it, and I'll send it back to you. What do you think? And then a couple more people get involved, and it goes back and it goes back, but it's organic.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about, because it's obviously what we would call in the old paradigm business related. And so one of the people involved was like, you know, actually all of us were like, we've got to figure out an equal energy exchange. And the individual said, don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it. I know that it will happen. Let's create it. So like that to me is that flow.
Yeah.
The minute you say, hey, wait a minute, let's stop the flow. Let's stop the flow right now. And let's figure out how everyone's going to get paid and, you know, this and that. You stopped her. And that's in me, that's in you, and that's in the collective. So now that's evidently that's being allowed to flow. And like you said too, not only is it the full completion of the availability of the feminine, but it's also the masculine.
Yes.
Because now that the feminine has completely, gone full circle, that's allowed the other one to do it.
We can only step into union together.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And you know, the organic, the organic process applies also to business. You know, we have been separating business or stuff connected to money as, I don't know, something outside, not spiritual or whatever. But business, you know, let's forget the word.
Yeah.
This can also flow organically.
Yes.
And if you think about, we are part of nature. And have you ever seen a group of trees in the forest sit down for a lesson from a wizard telling the trees how to grow? No.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday. This guy, James Greenshields, he lives in Australia, and he goes into the bush. He went into the bush for 7 days and fasted.
Yeah.
So he went by himself, no phone, no nothing. And I said, well, how did that all go? You know, and he said, the first thing I realized is that we're in this environment, you know, that I'm the only one that sees myself as separate from everything else. Right. And I thought, oh, wow. And then it came to something that came to me a long time ago when I used to be out a lot walking and with the trees. And that was like, I wonder if everything that I'm looking at is more intelligent than we are. Like, in other words, we're like the last ones to know, you know. But like you're saying, everything is organic and natural and flows naturally, and we've been removed from that for whatever reason.
And if you think about a seed that is either planted or falls into the earth, if the seed is viable, strong enough, and with a strong enough purpose, then it will be supported. It will grow. If it's not, then the growth will be stopped somewhere.
That's right.
It's the same with us, with projects, with decisions. You know, so many times, like we have learned that we need to push. But what if you just observe and you see, okay, this is somehow not happening. So maybe it's just not the right way, or it's not time.
Yeah.
Let me listen to this and just see what else is there, you know?
Yeah. Morgan says all the time, in this new energy, nothing can be created by the energy of force. It has to. And then somebody, Anna in the YouTube, she asked, so what exactly is holding space? What does it mean to just be? That's what she's asking. What do you think?
Yeah. So there is a bit of a difference with holding space for yourself and for others, because
Yeah.
for yourself it's also necessary. Actually,
Yes.
first you need to do it for yourself. And in my perspective, holding space for myself often means, just canceling everything when something is happening, or when I start spiraling in different thoughts, stopping and
Yes.
just do my, I have a technique. When I start spiraling, I stop, I breathe,
Mm.
then I check, am I hungry and am I thirsty? Drink a glass of water, eat something. Okay, how do I feel now? What is my immediate next step? First step, not like a million steps ahead. So I just hold myself in the moment, basically, without judgment. Non-judgment is a
Yeah.
big part of holding space for
Yes.
others also. You are not trying to put a label to what the person is saying.
Yeah.
Not even not try to put a label. You just don't do it.
You
You let
just
it
don't. Yeah.
go. You're just present, listening. And often this starts simply by deciding that you're going to be quiet, like you
Yes.
said. And then you learn, because you see what
Yes.
happens when you let the people finish what they, what wants to come out. Because when you are quiet, you
Yeah.
literally create that
Yeah.
space of silence, and they can maybe think and like, okay, so I can continue. I can say something more, or I can be just silent.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. That's what I noticed. And this is, and see, it was neat talking to James yesterday because he's a man. And I've had him and his wife on twice, and I had her on earlier in the week. And when I sat with him, it all kind of came together, you know. But that's what I was telling him is what I learned was when I sat there and didn't say anything, right? Uh, it took a while, but I mean, but once I got to a certain point, like I said, after the second or third time energy was presented to me, I realized that I was looking at this without judgment,
Mhm.
and that I was actually beginning to bring in to take in some knowledge, which went back to that flowing, right? So like we consider the feminine to be mysterious. She has a cycle. She's a little mercurial, she's emotional, right? And all these things, right? And so all that stuff, it came to me like, wow, society said she's crazy. And as a result, to your point about the masculine, they're just stupid, and so like, so everything stopped it, right? Everything stopped that flow. Judgment stopped that flow. Excuses stopped that flow, whatever you want to call it. But so as I started to observe it, and I again, most of this I'm watching in Morgan, because we did a radio show toward the end of May, and the next thing you know, 100 people want to have a session with her, and that never happened to her. So that was all happening, right? So as I just sat there and watched it, I realized how it worked, why it was being stopped. Now
Mhm.
that's being changed. And I also found out something really fantastic, and that was the beauty of that mystery. Like
Yeah.
you think of the womb as like the holy darkness as a stationary container, right? But to me, it's not. She's moving like this, right? And it is mysterious because you don't know what
Yeah.
the hell anything is. You're just in full-blown surrender to love and loving to the surrender. You're just like, I don't know. And you have to give up. And
Yeah.
that's the magic. So I was actually able to look at the feminine energy externally and in myself ultimately and collectively. I was actually able to look at it and appreciate it, the beauty and the mystery, instead of looking at it like, oh my God, I don't understand it. I'll go into fear and I'm just going to suppress it. But I
Yeah.
actually saw the beauty of it, of what I call like the abyss, the void, the holy womb. This is the laboratory of new creation. And we
Yeah.
need, and that has to occur, you know, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. And that's how the highest potential is expressed.
Yeah.
When you just let it flow as it has to, because as soon as you try to define,
Yeah.
you already limit it.
And you know what I noticed too, and I don't know if you've noticed this, okay? But I was talking about this and noticing this a month ago, like at the beginning of June when all this started to happen. And I noticed that there, because you know, there's a lot of, obviously there's a lot of females out there leading the way and have been for many years. I mean, it's 80% or whatever. But I was noticing that stoppage, you know, in their field, like they were in different ways. It was it was the patriarchal wound, I guess, but more of a masculine characteristic, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but I was noticing that struggle, how within themselves. And that's part of what helped me to start looking inside myself, because I never really was able to say, oh, there's my divine feminine, you know, in myself. But after this all happened, it all climaxed, I guess, for lack of a better word, about a week ago. And I'm laying there next to her and merge. And then the next thing I know, I'm by myself. And I said this on the last show, but I just heard like that laughing. Does your team ever like laugh at you? And like, oh, you're the only one here. And then I looked inside myself and I could see both.
Yeah.
Right. And what I saw there, I only saw a glimpse of it, but what I saw there was a lot like a love I've never seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this means that, you know, as the individual goes, so goes the collective. You're feeling it. I'm feeling it. It's there. You know, energetically, I think we must have accomplished something really big that we're now going to catch up with.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I feel a short transmission.
Light language. Yes. Perfect.
No, I'm always a bit uncomfortable to do it live, but it's.
You're always perfect.
It wants to come. So just a short transmission of freedom codes of the organic way. Yeah. So just I invite everyone to either close your eyes or keep them open, whatever feels good, and just take a few slower breaths. Just slow inhale and a slightly longer exhale, but gently. Just a few breaths like that. Just breathing. Just breathing and feeling the breath coming into your body and flowing out. And by coming into a state of relaxation, you really open up to receiving because you clear the space. Arakesheatate, erakeatate, shakete alakeatate, teraya kesi e, tarakeate ata, kasheate sake, ayaketi shiaka, tera eakate, iakiatiaka. Even though it can be difficult for the human to accept that it's just enough to be yourself, this is the truth. This is what we are walking towards. Ara keshe te aya keti, tara ea kasetiata, ara keshe te kati, ara kete ateta. And it's okay to release any concepts that you had about how your path should look like, how your work should look like, how your life should look like. It's okay, you can release them. This will make space for the organic way to come out, for your most easeful and natural expression to come out. Arakesheata, akeateti eya kalate, ka teti eya kasheta erata, eya kiata, te asia kata. Inhale and exhale, blowing out. So really.
You've elevated. Not that you weren't elevated before, but that was a hell of a transmission right there. That was That, yeah. What you said or she said, I feel like what she said, but you said, you were the one that said it, but it was like you up there. Uh, but so, cause I don't know who it was, but I saw this post the other day. It was by a female, and it was really good. And she said, when it comes to your work, it's the same thing that you're saying. It's when it comes to your work, there's this misconception in the spiritual community that it has to be presented a certain way. It has to look a certain way, be a certain way. And basically in the post, she was saying, that's not it. It is what you said about when people come into the space with you and they're just like, oh, I can just be me. Right. And it feels really good. So that's like the example you gave, that's like the I don't want to say the easy part, but the more easy, graceful part. Then the other part is getting deeper and deeper into it's never them, it's always me. Right. Like that's like getting really loud. Like you can't, at least I'm finding in my own experience, because I mean, and I don't know how people, I've said this a few times, I'm trying to get to the messages, and it's a 24/7, every day, all day long, every moment, I have to be on my stuff. It's taking all my attention to make sure that I stay as close to alignment, that it's never them, it's always me. Because the minute my attention starts to go out there, it doesn't matter if it's a vision of the future, a trauma of the past, an externalization of love or blame, I'm screwed. I immediately start going like that.
Yeah, the transition period is the part that is challenging, where we are unlearning the templates and behaviors that we took on. That's challenging. That's challenging. And we have then smaller periods that are very easeful, but once you get through the thick of it, those periods become bigger, and it just becomes easeful. Like even the challenging part, like the last 2 weeks that I was describing, was very hard on my body, but the same way I was like, oh, this is so natural. I know it's good.
I think I totally, we're connected. There's no doubt. Because like if I look at the last 2 weeks, that was the toughest period my body's been through. Like it was so, I was drinking water, but I was drinking water a lot and eating pretty good. But I would wake up every morning and my face is peeling. I got a dot on my third eye from like, it's almost like a burn. I'm tender in places.
Oh, interesting. Yes, I also have this on my heart chakra. When I'm deep in a process, I get like burn.
Yeah. I have that in my third eye, and then in my sacral area, like around my navel. And I actually, right before I left Florida to come here at the end of May to go through this period, I went out because I was broadcasting in the RV in the driveway, and I had a hot tea, and I go to open the door, and it spilled right on my sacral and burned it. It created like a tattoo, man. And I knew that was immediately, I thought, oh, I'm fixing to go through some stuff. But I will say this too, and I'm not trying to be funny, because to your point, regardless of what's happening in the transition, there is another side, the other side of it when you come out of it. And that is, I can see and feel and am experiencing major physical upgrades to my body to include rejuvenation, high testosterone, I don't know what, higher libido. I don't know. I'm like going, what the heck? Like even without any type of stimulus, becoming, my blood circulating very well. Let's just put it that way. But I know that there is a connection between all of the cleansing and, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. but like you said earlier, it's subtle, but it's I think it has always been subtle, but I think now there's just too much. It's like if you look at every one of the individual occurrences, you go, oh well, maybe that's a coincidence, but now you can line them all up, and you can't really refute that. And I think that's one of the reasons that it's starting to really get interesting now.
Mm.
Yeah. Because you imagine like what you're talking about, and enough people let go and are in that present without, beyond what we used to say, like, oh, we got to be present. No, but like what you're talking about, can you imagine the energetic impact that would have on the reality? Like stuff we're talking about now wouldn't even apply,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, pretty cool. Good stuff. So Irresistible Tribe, is it the Irresistible Tribe or irresistibletribe.com?
Irresistibletribe.com.
And so everybody knows, this is Maja. Maja is incredible. If you don't know her story, she's from an Eastern European country. She was an attorney, and she got the call, and like so many people, defied society and went and built her own life. And here she is, broke, living on the beach and surfing every day. No, I'm kidding. But let's support her. She's been a big contributor to Soulspeaks. She's been a big part of this program in 2,000 episodes. She's probably been on 7 or 8 times, and she always brings the good stuff, the raw stuff, the real stuff. And she does have some tremendous gifts. So irresistibletribe.com. She does private sessions. And I think you also have the temple. Are you still doing that?
Membership.
Tell us about that.
So temple membership is, it's basically a safe space. And I realized that I created it, or it called me, created for sensitives, which are people who are sensitive to energy and who carry quite a strong remembrance of the natural way. That's why we never fit into the templates of society, and we just cannot find our spot. So temple is a safe space for you to explore who you are. And I have once a month an activation. There's like a theme of the month, a group call, which is always a transmission. And usually I have a guest. This week I just did a transmission, another transmission. Yeah, but it's powerful, but it's quite easy to digest, and it's a support that is consistent, let's say. And I post a lot there now, like really more than on my wall, because also for me in this period, which is a period of transformation, it's more vulnerable. Also, I feel more safe there.
Yeah. That's smart.
It's a container that is.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. And I think that's a sign of things to come, to be honest with you. I know we're headed that way. And I know I used to talk about it a lot, and I had to be quiet because I was getting in the way of the flow. But I can feel it coming. There's an alignment coming. I can feel it with myself, like what you're talking about. I feel it's the same thing. And I know it's happening collectively. And I think what I'm talking about is platforms, or is that what you would call it? Platforms, portals, vortexes, that are outside of the conventional venues that we've used, that are going to be as good or better, uncensored, supported. You can bring your vulnerabilities. You know what I mean? Like the same thing you're talking about earlier, and what you're talking about with the temple.
And it's also always evolving. It's not a static space.
That's right.
That's right. As we evolve.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. In regard to like what I was talking about with that, whoever that woman was that put that post up about how things are supposed to look, there's a lot of stuff being deconstructed. And I think that's probably a little bit painful. I'm sure it is. And especially for people who've been out there for a long, long time and structured their tent with what they had available, which was 3D, 3D templates or whatever. But that should not take away from the incredible work that they all have done But
Yes.
like you said, you know, and the universe has no favorites. We can't be static. We have to change, and we have to do new things. And I think the temple and that type of energy and where we're headed, and many others, I think that's where we're going, you know. So this is getting cool. This is getting very cool. I don't know what it's going to look like the rest of the year, but I think we've done a really good
Yeah.
job. Yeah. The next time, who knows, by the end of the year, maybe in December, you'll be surfing and we'll be doing a show while you're surfing, right?
Could
We'll
be.
have that much command, right?
I allow myself to be surprised.
That's right. We got to stay open.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Oh, the name of her group is irresistibletribe.com.
Irresistibletribe.com is my website. Yeah. And
Is the website.
Yeah, Temple for Irresistible Tribe is the membership, but everything is on the website.
It's on the website, yeah. So you can find everything. Somebody's asking. So you can find everything at irresistibletribe.com. She also has an Irresistible Tribe YouTube, right?
Yeah, but I don't really.
That's okay. But I mean, it's the same name, yeah. Or she makes videos. She's just saying a lot of the videos she's doing now and post are actually on the site. So I'd highly recommend her. And I'm very much a do it myself type of person, but yeah, I enjoy her information and her intel and her company. Thank you. You're a beautiful, beloved sister. I always love getting together with you. One of my favorites. Just to get together with. There's many, but I'm just being honest. But anyway, it's always fresh. I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't talk about sacred sex this time.
God, yeah. I need some experience. Maybe at the end of the year.
I have some stories for you, girl. With Morgan and I the last couple of months. All right, you take care. Thanks so much for coming on short notice. All right, I'll see you later. Let me know if there's anything I can do. We can do to help you. All right.